like in the 1980s, there were people who, risked going to jail, to home educate their kids because, it wasn't legal to start with. And there's a news story from 1983 of a family that was refused permission to home educate in Alberta. So they moved to Montana just to have the freedom to home educate. Because back before 1988, I mentioned in the 1988 School Act, that mentioned home education for the first time. So before that, it was up to the local school superintendent if a family could home educate or not. And some superintendents were very left wing and wouldn't allow parents to home educate. So the parents would have to move if they wanted to home educate, and that particular family that I mentioned moved to Montana. So in those early years, we didn't have the freedoms that we have today. And it would be important, for younger families who haven't encountered these kind of difficulties to know what the pioneers of the movement, what they had to go through and, what they had to sacrifice, in order to win these rights for us, the rights for freedom that we have right now. So, I guess I got off on a bit of a rabbit trail there, but this is something that people should understand.
Yeah, it's absolutely important. And it's interesting that the rise for Albertan independence and the rise for the ability to home educate kind of happened at the same time. That's very interesting to me. Do you think one had a lot to do with the other, or is it just coincidental that those two movements kind of sparked within the same time period?
I think it's actually coincidental because
Really?
they were sparked by entirely different events. Like the war in the Middle East. I mean, nobody could have predicted that. It led to energy policy changes, federal government versus province. Whereas the other one was a larger general cultural trend that would have happened regardless of the what happened in the energy policy. And like the cultural change that led to the private schools and homeschooling, that was happening in the United States and Canada at the same time.